Hello Steelers, and welcome to this slightly different game, video at least, of what I normally do, which is generally historical wargaming. This is a game of Gaslands, the game by Osprey Games. It was originally released quite a few years ago now in the old softback edition, but then they re-released it in this hardback refueled edition, which I think just adds a few more rules to it, just tidied it up a little bit, and just basically made it a lot more attractive when they realised that they had a bestseller on their hands. This video really is going to be a little bit of a demonstration of how the game plays. I'm just going to take you through it. So it's a little bit like a how to play, but it's also a little bit like a review as well. Normally I'm not particularly interested in science fiction or fantasy games, but in this case this Gaslands really allows me to play out my Mad Max fantasies, and I really love Fury Road, the latest Mad Max film, or at least it is at the moment. I think they're making a second one, and this just allows me to basically get on board with that really, and just have a bit of a laugh, and it's very much a beer and pretzels kind of game. The barrier to entry is incredibly low with this, because literally all you need is some Hot Wheels cars or similar types. You can play it on your dining room table. I mean, I've set up here with just using some of my scenery, but you don't need any of this. You can just literally set it up on a dining room table, get some dice, cut out the movement templates, and photocopy some of the car templates as well, and you're done. You're literally done. You can start on it. But I just thought I'd make it look a little bit nicer with my with some of my scenery. It's basically a race game. You've got various cars in different teams competing against one another. The first one to win wins, but the first one to get through the line wins, should I say. Also, there's plenty of lots of scenarios in the book itself. There's quite a few towards the end, so you can do quite a lot with it. There's the basic rules, and then you've got a whole set of extra rules as well, just to really up your game. It's very simple the way it works. It works in each turn is a gear turn, so everybody takes a turn in that particular gear. You'll see how this works as we go on. The higher the gear, the more turns you get overall, so obviously it pays to go faster. But then of course you've got obstacles, so you're driving a car, you're still going to be going forward, and you need to avoid everything in front of you and all the other vehicles who are most likely shooting at you as well. And that's a pretty rough introduction to the game. It is pretty much as basic as I've said. You know, it's a car race game. It's in the old similar style to things like Car Wars or even Dark Future from Games Workshop and Steve Jackson, those kind of people, those old games. But it's really slimmed everything down, so it makes it a much faster game overall, and it's just a good laugh when you've got some mates round on a Sunday or Saturday afternoon just to play this and see who can survive. So what I'll do is I'll show you the table here, and I'll show you the cars and the vehicles I'm using, and I'll go through those. And then we'll just get the game started really, and as I say, as I'll go along I'll explain rules to you and show you how things work. I've made it as basic as I can, so there's nothing too crazy in this, so just think of this as really a proper introduction to the game. It's well worth buying. Do so if you see it around. Grab a copy. It's still in print, I think. As I say, it's one of their best sellers for the Osprey Games, as far as I'm aware, and incredibly simple just to get into. Really easy, real fun. So let's get this game started. So this is a table set up. I'm using a Tiny Wargames rubberized mat for this. Have a look at my review of their mats if you're interested in buying some of these. Really nice pieces to have. And again, just throw this over a dining room table and you're sorted. As you can see, it's a very simple, basic setup. I've got a figure of 8 race, so the cars are going to have to come through here. This is gate 1. They've got to all go through here, then gate 2 over there, and then through the final gate here, and that's whoever gets through there first is the winner. So most of these barriers are destructible, so if they do hit them they will be destroyed, but they will take damage for hitting them perhaps. These lumps of steel are not destructible, so they will stay on the table if they're hit. But we'll get into that if anybody does hit them. But everything else is literally just for decoration. As I say, you really don't need a great deal of amount of material to get this game started. Even just some books to line out your race course is enough to play Gaslands. But I'll show you the cars and explain the cards for the cars as well, and we'll carry on from there. Right, so on this side of the table we've got quite a few bits and pieces here. I'll go through them. These are the cards for the cars. These are just literally photocopied from the book itself, and then I've just laminated them so I can draw on them with a dry white pen so I can rub them off and reuse them. And what I've done is I've marked each of these as to which teams. I've separated the two. I've got 6 cars in this game, and I've separated them into 2 teams, Team 2 and Team 1. And I've just made a note of which cars they are. So we've got a Mini, the blue car, a tank, because that's got the tank tracks. We've also got the open top car here, the one with the prisoner on the front of it, and also the blue pickup truck as well. So what I've done is I've given both teams a car, 2 cars each, and then also 1 pickup truck. I've also given both teams a 360-degree machine gun mounted on, so this is on one of the blue cars, but it's also on the pickup truck on the other team. So it's just to balance them out, and everybody else has a heavy machine gun that fires forward. So there's a bit more damage from the heavy machine guns, but they are fixed forward. So as I say, this is an incredibly basic setup really in this case. What you can also see here are we've got the gear dice. So these are just normal dice. I'm using green dice because green for go. But you can see that each of the vehicles have a maximum gear. So for instance, a car has a maximum of 5, so that means its dice cannot go above 5 for the gears. We have pickup trucks, they have a maximum gear of 4, so same again, they can't go above 4 for their maximum gear, and this will make sense when we start to play the game. Each of them have crew as well, so they've got 2 crew in the cars and 3 crew in the trucks. The crew are the men, women that will operate the weapons that you've got on your vehicles. You can add more weapons. There's a huge list of them. I'll just show you here. This is my reference sheet, and that is basically the weapons sheet there. So you can see how many there are that you can add. As I say, I'm doing it incredibly basically, just to show you how to play the game. And each crew member can fire a weapon. So if they not have a dedicated weapon, they also have handguns which only fire with 1d6, but they fire 360. So they do a small amount of damage, but not a great deal. We've also got here handling and hull. Hull, as you would probably expect in this kind of game, is how much damage the vehicle takes. Once all these boxes have been ticked, so for cars it's 10, for a pickup truck it's 6, and again there's other vehicles, so there's bikes that have lower, there are monster trucks, there are war rigs, there's all kinds of vehicles that you can add into this game. And you can make your own up as well, obviously. But again, as I say, we're using the very basics here just to give you an idea of the game. Handling is how many of these dice you will roll if you choose to. Now this is different. These are the only things that you really have to prepare. I bought a set of dice, but you can just make these out of normal dice. Now these are your shift dice. So if you look here, so for example, when the car is wanting to do a roll for its shift dice, it can roll up to 3 of these. The pickup truck can roll up to 2. What these do is these have shift results on them. They also have a slide result, a spin result, and a hazard result. The most you will get is a shift. There's 3 shifts, and then the rest are made up of the spin, the hazard, and the slide. So the way this works very basically is if you're trying to do a manoeuvre and you want to get your car to spin to a particular area, you would want to roll some dice. Shifts will get rid of hazards. We'll talk about those probably during the game anyway. But if you want to slide or spin your car, do something spectacular, you'll be wanting to roll dice, because otherwise you're only going to be moving using these movement templates. And these are all various templates. Again, these have different numbers on them. This is the gear that you can use these in. So for instance, a hairpin, you can only do it in gear 1, 2 or 3. They also have a little hazard symbols. I bought these in, but again, these can just be photocopied straight out of the back of the book. Or you can download them from the Gaslands websites and cut them out and use them straight away. I just bought these extras. I can't remember where. I'll find out and I'll stick the description, the links in the description below. But you can see here these have hazards as well, shifts and hazards. So again, we'll talk about those as we do them. But basically, as you do more and more crazy manoeuvres, you will be picking up hazard tokens, and you will be wanting to get rid of those with shifts. So this is why you will probably be rolling dice to hopefully get the shift result to get rid of some of these hazards. Because if at the end of any gear phase you have 6 hazards or more, you will wipe out, which basically brings you straight back down to gear 1. It stops your car, you spin out, and you're basically banjaxed for a turn. So you will really be thinking about using these dice, these shift dice, as part of your game to get you around the corners and things. But again, as I say, we'll explain that as we go along in the game anyway. The only other thing here is the pole position. This just shows who gets to move first. They choose which car they want to move first, then the opponent moves one of theirs, and then it goes back and forth through everybody. And this changes every time you end the gear phase. So I'll talk about that as well in a second as we start the game. As you can see here, everybody's in gear 1 at the start because they're all basically stopped dead, ready to revving up, ready to go and drive off. So we'll get this game started and see what happens. Right, well, these are the vehicles that are in the race. So we've got team 1, which is the blue car here with a 360 machine gun, the Mini here under all the armour, and then also this tank truck as well. This is the pickup truck, I said. So that's team 1. Then team 3 is the pickup truck with the 360 machine gun on the back, and then 2 cars, both with heavy machine guns, and you've got the open top and the guy with the prisoner on them. I've also got over here as well my dice. This shows me which gear we're currently in. So this is set to 1 to the start of the game. We move through this until everybody's gear has gone through, and then we basically set it again back to 1. So well, let's get this race started. Okay, so I've rolled to see who goes first, and this is gear 1, and it has been team 2, so they get to choose one of their vehicles to go. You choose any you want. In this case, because they don't want to slam into the back of anybody, they're going to choose their truck to go forward. They're using the medium template. You choose a template. There is a rule that says if you touch it, you use it, but that's probably for people who are much better at recognising which template they need. But in this case, we're just going to be using whichever templates I decide. But anyway, this is a simple move. It's a non-hazardous move. Trivial move is the name in the rules, and you can tell this because it has a shift symbol, and you can see that this moves. You use this template in gears 1 to 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. There you see, and under each one of those is a shift a shift marker. So that means that they basically get a free shift, and a shift could be putting up a gear or even removing a hazard or anything like that. In this case, he's going to go up a gear. So not only is he in gear 1, he's now going to tip it up to gear 2. So we turn our dice up. That will, because he's gone up a gear, he also gets a hazard token for that. So he can't get rid of that for that shift, but he does take a hazard token. It's alright at the moment because he's only 1 out of a potential 6. And then you move the vehicle. This is when you see if there's any collisions or anything. You literally pick the vehicle up, put it to the end of the template, and that is how simple it is. So then it goes over to his attack phase. And their attack phase, should I say, could be women in there. And they check if they're distracted. They're not, because they're not in a collision or anything. And then you can roll, you declare your targets if they're within range, which is measured with the templates. Again, different guns have different ranges. So in this case, his machine gun is in range with our blue car, so he's going to fire at the machine gun. You roll the number of dice that you're firing at that car, so there's 2d6. He needs a 4 or above to hit, with a 6 being a critical, which basically causes two hits. So let's see what we got. 2 4s, so he's caused 2 hits on the blue car. The blue car then gets to avoid, but it only avoids with however many, what gear it's in. It's currently in gear 1, and he needs 6 or more to cancel any hits. So let's have a look. A 1, that's it. So no, it's 2 hits against no cancel, so he's already taken 2 damage. Then it's gone back to team 1, so they have chosen the Mini to move forward. It can't fire because it only fires forward. However, you do actually fire in a corridor that is that as wide as the templates either side of the vehicle, so you do have quite a wide area to hit, but there's nobody in front of him. So I've just moved him forward. He's gone up a gear, so he's also taken a hazard token because he again used that medium movement template. So then we go back to team 2, and this is all pretty basic stuff for the start because they're all literally just starting off. So I'm just going to move some of these forward. So over here it's into this chap. He's going to turn his engine up as well, so he's the open top, so he's going up to 2. He also then takes a hazard. Then we go back to the other team. This is the tank. He's going forward, so he's going to plough forward like this. Again, he is also upping his gear and taking that hazard token for it. Now we have a collision because it is going to be the first car here at the back. It's back to team 2 and it's the prisoner car, and he can't get any further forward than this chap here, so he's going to literally slam into the back of him. In this case, both of these are not going to, they're both going to evade. The way this works is you basically just give each of them 1 hazard token, otherwise you would take damage. In this case they're just piling up those hazard tokens. So the prisoner car now has 2 hazard tokens because he had 1 because he was going up a gear, and the blue car now starts with 1. So it's now the blue car's turn to go, and he is also going to just pile forward now like this. So we're basically leaving that prisoner car behind, but he is also upping his gear and therefore taking that other hazard token as well. He is now going to fire, so he's going to fire at the blue truck next to him because that's the most obvious of the targets. So same again, we have our firing dice, 2 dice, 4 plus, 2 3s is a miss, so there's no point rolling the evade dice. But if you had done, he would have rolled 2 dice because he is now in 2nd gear. So that ends the 1st gear. So what we do is we turn the gear dice over and we move on to the 2nd gear, and whoever is in 2nd gear gets to go. Also, the pole position shifts as well, so this team's have pole position, so it's up to them to move. So they are going to choose one of their vehicles. Let's have a think about what they want to do. Right, so team 1 have decided to use their blue car. He's going to do a veer here, you can see. So this is the shape of it. You can either put these down either way, but he wants to come here because we want him to be going through those gates there, but he also wants to be avoiding this as well if he can. So that's what he's aiming for. Now a veer in gear 2 is a trivial hazard, so that means he gets a free shift, so he can either put his gear up and take a hazard for it, or get rid of one of the hazards that he's got on his car. He is going to put his gear up, so he's going to get up to gear 3 this time and take a hazard for that, so that's his free shift. He could roll some dice to try to reduce his hazards at the moment, but I'm not going to bother. So basically we just shift the vehicle to there, and then that is going to fire again at their blue truck. So let's see if he hits this time. So again, we're rolling 2d6. 4s are hits, 6 are criticals. So we got a 4 and a 6. So that's basically 3 hits on that. The vehicle this is firing at is currently in gear 2, so he gets to roll 2 dice. 6s will evade it. 4 and a 3 is no evasion, so that has now taken 3 hits on the pickup truck. Slowly picking away at it. Right, the next one to move is the prisoner car, so he decided that he wants to put his gear up again, so this is trivial, so he can do that, but it does cost him a hazard to do so, so he's going to do that, and he's now up in gear 3, but he's got 3 hazards on because he's picked up another hazard, but he's trying to get as far forward as he can. He's got a heavy machine gun that he can also fire. He couldn't fire it last time because he was distracted by hammering into the back of him. The heavy machine gun is 3d6, but it only fires forward, and as I say, it's basically a corridor of fire like that. So we roll our 3d6, 4 pluses are hits, 6, so that's 2 hits on the blue car. The blue car gets to dodge that, and that is in gear 3, so it needs 6s. It's got a 5, 4 and a 3, so that's no dodging. So that's 3 hits on the blue car. So he's getting close to getting hammered as well. He's only got 5 of his hull left. Right, the next one to move has been the blue truck. So this is now firing at the blue vehicle again with his 360 degree. So we've missed on a 3 and a 1. So there's no need to do any rolls. So it's straight back to the team 1. Alright, I'm not going to show you every move, but what I've done is move the Mini forward. He's also gone up a gear as well, so he's now up in gear 3. And we've also moved forward our prisoner car as well. He's upped his gear, but he's right behind the blue car, so he's going to take some shots at him with the heavy machine gun. Let's see what we get. 2, 2 and a 1, so that's all misses, so there's no point to roll the dodge dice. Right, so the end of gear 2, this is how it looks at the moment. So everybody's still heading forward. Pretty much everyone's just gone forward at the moment, and they've all put up their gears. So we turn the gear dice as well. So he's gone on to 3. Pole position shifts again, so it is now team 2. So these ones here. So it's up to them to decide what they want to do. Right, at this point, not a great deal of manoeuvring has happened because we're just going straight. It's going to get a bit crazy here in a second when we've got to start avoiding this. However, we've got the truck is firing again at our blue car here. So 2d6, a 4 and a 3, so that's 1 hit. It is currently in gear 3, so he gets to roll 3 dice and see if he can avoid those. A 3, a 2 and a 3, so no, that's no avoidance. So he takes another hit. So he's now only got 4 left. Alright, now we've got a bit of manoeuvring, and I'm going to be using some shift dice here, so I'll show you how they work. The Mini is doing a gentle turn, so it could be able to get between these trees and that lump of metal, and then it also should be able to fire at the blue car as well. Anyway, we'll check that in a second. So you put down your template for manoeuvre. On this one, this is only a trivial manoeuvre up onto gear 3. He's currently in gear 3, so he can either just go forward and take the turn, the gentle turn, and not do anything. However, he wants to go up a gear, so he's going to have to roll the shift dice. So he can use as many shift dice as handling as his car is, so that's 3, and he's going to use all 3 because he wants to get that shift at least. Shifts can be used to blank out slides and spins. We'll show you more about spins and slides in a bit when they become more useful, but right now he's just trying to get up a gear, so I'm going to use all 3, see what we get. So we've got 3 shifts, so he's going to use one of those to go up a gear, so that will give him a hazard. So this is the thing we have to do. So he's now up into gear 4. He's currently got 3 hazards, so he could use these 2 shifts to blank out 2 of those hazards. So he's going to. So he's now back down to 1 hazard now, but he's in gear 4. So then we shift him forward into this position here. Now if he'd rolled a slide or a spin, he could have ended up with something else. I'll show you this now. A hazard is basically you just take an extra hazard token, so it could lead you to wiping out. If you take a slide result, you put the slide template in, and then the vehicle ends up at the end of the slide instead. If you take a spin result, you can also spin the car up to 90 degrees at the end of its move. In this case he doesn't want to because he's got through the hazard that he wants to get through. But you also take a hazard token for each slide and spin that you will take as well. So they're risky manoeuvres, but they can get you through tight corners. In this case, he doesn't need to. However, he can also fire his HMG that is just in line of sight. So he's going to do that. 3d6 against the pickup truck. What have we got? 6 and a 4 is 3 hits. That is currently in gear 4. So we're rolling 4 dice. He needs to get rid of, he needs 3 6s or above. He's got 1 6, so it takes 2 damage on the truck. So it's the tank's turn. We've moved forward the vehicles at the back there, but the tank is now trying to slightly veer, so he'll be able to negotiate that terrain feature there. So it's a 3. He's in gear 3. It isn't a trivial manoeuvre, so he doesn't get any bonuses for it. So he's going to have to roll his dice. He's rolling his handling dice of 2d6. So he's got 2 slide results. Now he can take a hazard to re-roll any number of those dice. It's called pushing it, and he's going to. So he's going to take a hazard, because they're going to give him 2 hazards anyway. So we're basically just going to re-roll. And let's see what we get. A spin and a hazard. So unfortunately for him, he doesn't get to go up a gear. He picks up 2 more hazards. so he's currently on 5, but he does get to spin his vehicle at the end of the move if he wants. He's not going to though, and he's just going to bring it forward here. So that's unfortunately he's still stuck in gear 3, so he'll not get a move in the next phase. And then we've got another collision as the vehicle smashes into the back of the blue vehicle, the prisoner vehicle into the back of the blue. Both of these are going to try to avoid the collision, so they're both taking a hazard each, but no damage is caused. But he doesn't get to go very far forward, and unfortunately, because he's obstructed in the he's distracted by the crash, he can't fire his heavy machine guns. So we then move on to the blue car, and let's see what he's going to do. Unfortunately for that blue car, all he can try to do is try to avoid this obstacle here. So he's doing a turn, but as you can see, half of his movement is actually taken up by the obstacle, so he will just move straight into it. So what we do here, this is a smash attack, because the obstacle can't evade, and he can't evade it. So basically we bring him up, smack it into there. He then rolls however many damage dice for what gear he is currently in. He's currently in 3, so he takes, oh, that's 4 damage. So that actually has destroyed him. He's completely wiped out. He can try to evade this, so he's going to, and the way we do this, we roll the dice for each of his current gears. A 6 plus cancels the evade, so he's currently in gear 3, so he needs 6s, so he's evaded 1. However, that's still enough to wipe him out, because he only had 3 left, I think, at that point, and he's taken 4, so that's smashed him up. So that turns him into a wreck, and what happens here is he moves forward short. However, he will then slam into this vehicle, so he is now evading, so he takes another token. We reduce all the tokens on the blue car down to 1. He's out of the game, and basically leave it upside down, so it is now an obstacle to avoid. And now the final car, because of that crazy bit of mayhem, he's trying to pull a hard turn to get around this burning wreck. Now it's a with a 3, he's in gear 3, it gives him a hazard. If he takes another hazard, it means he's going to wipe out. However, he's going to try to roll his dice, his handling dice, to see if he can reduce some of those hazards. So he's automatically taking 1 hazard for the turn. So let's see what we get. A slide, and a hazard, so that would be 3 extra hazards. So what he's going to do is try and push it, so he gains a hazard automatically. So he can re-roll his dice. But this time he's got 2 shifts and a slide. So let's just work out what we're getting from this. The slide he doesn't want to use, so that's going to get him a hazard. He's also going to take a hazard, as we said, from the turn anyway. So that's currently put him up onto 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He's then going to spend 2 of those shifts that he has here to get rid of 2 of those, so he's back down to 5 on his hazards. So he spins round and ends up here instead. Now if he'd got a spin, in this case, he could have actually used that spin to move himself up to 90 degrees. So he could have ended up looking like that, but as it is, he didn't, and he's only there. Just before we go into gear 4, let's just have a quick look at where we're at with the cars. So blue is out, it's dead, destroyed. So I'll just get rid of that anyway. We've got the car, the Mini is in gear 4. The pickup truck, the tank, is in gear 3. So remember, he tried to get his gears up but couldn't. And he's also hovering on 5 hazards at this point. The pickup truck is on 3 hazards and in gear 3. The prisoner is in 4 hazards and in gear 3. And then open top car is with 4 hazards and also in gear 4. So they're all going to have to start thinking about bringing some of these hazards down, just to try to make it a little easier to get around the rest of the course. Right, so next up we've got the pickup truck. He's doing a gentle turn. He's in gear 4, which is the maximum he can go anywhere. A gentle turn is neither hazardous or trivial, so he can just do his normal move. So he will do, he's going to bring it up here, but then he's firing at that Mini with his rear firing machine guns, 2d6. So again, 4 plus 2 1s, so that's a miss. So it's on to the next one. Right, the Mini is up next. He's just doing a tight turn. This is a hazardous turn. He's not going to try and put his gear up at the moment because he's coming into those hairpin bends. So he just takes his hazard. He's in gear 4, so he gets to move in and come in here as well. So that's his turn over because he can't fire. So the only other car that's in gear 4 is the open top one. He's doing a gentle turn, which in gear 4 is neither hazardous nor trivial, but that brings him to there. He is then firing at that mini using his 3d6 from his heavy machine gun. So we're looking at, there's one hit, so the mini can try to dodge that out of the way. It needs a 6. Yes, he's dodged it, so there's a 6, so the mini survives the attack. And that ends turn 4. The reason that ends is because the other two cars at the back are only in gear 3, so they can't move in this phase. So we go straight back to gear 1 and start all over again. Nobody's in gear 5 because nobody's sped up this turn. Right, so we're straight back into gear 1 and it's the team 1's turn. So the mini is taking his turn and he is literally going to take a turn. So that gives him a hazard. So he's now up to 3. Keep saying he. Could be a woman driving, we don't know. So that's up to 3 now. He's still in gear 4. He's not going up a gear at this point. He's just trying to get around these corners so he can hopefully get through that finishing point. So now we're on to team 2 and their next car, and they're going to use their open top car. He again is going to do a tight turn. No, I don't think he is, you know. He's going to do a gentle turn. Sorry, I picked the wrong one up. As I said, there is a rule where you're supposed to use the one that you pick up, but in this case, this is a demonstration, so I'm not bothering doing it. On a gentle turn, he's on gear 4, so that doesn't mean he gets to go up a gear, but he does actually move around like that, and he just ends just behind that mini, so that means he can now fire away with his machine guns, and he's got 3d6 on his machine gun, so we'll do that. The mini is in, as I said, gear 4, so he's got 4 chances of dodging these, but let's see how much damage we do. 2, so that's a 6, that's 2 hits. The mini's got to dodge 2 with 6s, and he doesn't dodge any, so that's 2 hits on that mini. Right, the tank has piled through this here. He's managed to make it through just by doing a gentle turn, and he's firing his heavy machine guns at the blue van. Let's have a look. 4 is 1 hit. The van is in gear 4, so he's dodging on 6s. So let's have a look. So 6 there, so he's actually managed to dodge that, so lucky for him. And then our blue van has done a gentle turn. He's coming around this corner and he is machine gunning the mini again, so let's have a look, see if he hits. 3 and a 1, so that's 2 misses, so the mini doesn't have to evade. And on the other side, the slowpoke with the prisoner has just basically done a real turn just to try to get himself around so he can actually get back into the race. We're back into gear 2, so it's over to team 2, and he's starting with the prisoner here. He's doing a hard turn. He's only in gear 3, so he can do it. That's going to automatically give him a hazard, so that's now taking him up to 6. So he's going to have to roll his dice to see if he can actually reduce some of these with some with the shift dice. So let's have a look. So he's got a slide and a hazard. He's going to push it. He's going to push it, so he takes another hazard, so that pushes him up to 7, and he's re-rolling all of those dice, hoping that they're all going to come up as shifts. Well, he's got 2 shifts and a hazard, so he has to take that hazard, so that's now an 8, but then he can use the 2 shifts to drop those hazards down. Unfortunately for him, that means that he is wiped out because he's on 6 tokens, so he ends up there. He moves forward a medium forward, so for his wipeout step he basically moves forward a full medium. However, first of all, we check to see if he flips or not. So we roll a d6. If it's over his gear number or above, he doesn't, so he needs a 3 or above here. A 5, no, he doesn't flip, so then he moves directly forward the medium straight with a collision window, because we've got a collision here. He reduces his gear to 1, takes all hazard tokens off the vehicle, and then the next player decides which way he ends up pointing. However, we also do have that collision first of all, so they're going to have him pointing back on himself, obviously. And we also have a collision as well, which is a T-bone collision. For the collision here, was in gear 3, so he smacks into this doing gear 3. He's trying to evade, so he takes a single hazard for the evade anyway. So that's the pickup trucks. That actually may wipe him out as well if he doesn't get his gears down. The attack is done on what gear the vehicle is hitting, because it's a side swipe. So 6s are 2, and 4 plus 4 or 5 is 1 hit, so that's 3 hits on him. So he gets to evade with his current gear, the pickup truck or the tank, and he needs 6s. So that is, not a single one, so he's taken 3 damage. And as I say, then the car ends up pointing in the wrong direction, so that's not good for him. So we've moved the Mini, and he's basically just in another gentle curve to come round here, and we've also moved the open top as well. He is now firing at that Mini, so we can manage to get in behind him. Let's have a look. That's 3 hits, so the Mini can dodge those with 4 dice, and he dodges none, so that's 3 hits on that Mini as well. So because the tank is starting off in contact with an obstacle, i.e. this car here, he can basically just move past it and ignore it. However, he does have 6 hazards, so he's going to have to try to get rid of those hazards. He's going to do a turn. He's in gear 3, so it's neither a hazardous nor a basic manoeuvre. So he's going to roll his 2 handling and hopefully get at least 1, he needs 2 shift gears so he can get those down. So he's got 1 there, and he's taken a hazard. So he's going to push it by taking another hazard and then hoping to roll a 2nd shift. Otherwise he's going to wipe out. There you go, there's the 2 shifts. So he has now dropped down to 5 hazards. So at the end of his turn he basically gets round to here, which also means that he is now in a position to be able to fire at the pickup truck. So he's going to do that with his 3d6. Let's see what he gets. He gets 1 hit. Pickup truck is doing speed 4. It just needs 1 6 for that to bounce off. Yes, he's evaded 1. So although the tank has managed to get away, he's not caused any damage. And then we've shifted forward our truck, and that is now firing at the Mini again. So let's have a look at what he does. If he hits him, 3 and a 2, so there's no hits. So we're into gear 3 now. So first off, it's the Mini. He's going first, so he's going to literally just pull around there, do a gentle turn. But then we're also going to get the open top is coming in behind him and firing again with his 3d6. So let's just see what that does. There we go. So that's 1 hit. The Mini is doing gear 4, so he can evade with 4 dice, a 6. Yes, he's evaded it, so he's done all right for himself. Then next up we got the tank, and he is just in on that blue car, so he's going to take a shot at him with his 3d6. Let's have a look. 6 is 2 hits on the blue vehicle. It needs to dodge 2 of those with 6s, so he dodges 1, so it takes another hit on its hull. And then our pickup truck has done the same, another gentle turn, and he is now firing at that Mini again, trying to get rid of it if they can. So 5 is 1 hit. The Mini is doing gear 4, so it takes another hit, so it's not avoided any of them. Right, well, we're in gear 4 now, so only the cars that are in gear 4 are actually moving. So that's just the Mini, the blue pickup truck and the open top car. So the blue pickup truck has done this, basically gone directly in front of that Mini, and is shooting at him as he comes past him. So let's have a look. We got a 3 and a 1, so that's a miss anyway. So it's the Mini's turn to do something. Let's see, maybe if he swerves. I think if he swerves he can just make that, so he's going to take a hazard for that automatically, and then he's going to try to roll because he's getting quite high on his hazards. So let's see what happens. So we've got a shift and a slide. He doesn't want the slide, so let's re-roll that. Let's push it and re-roll because he actually wants a spin if he can get one, so I can show you how that happens. So I'll re-roll that, and it's a hazard, so he takes another hazard token. However, he can get rid of 2 of them because of the shifts he's got here, but then he just ends up here. So not really facing where he wanted to, but at least he's out of danger at the moment. So then we've got the open top. He is doing a swerve as well, so he's taking his hazard and he's going to come in here, and then he's going to shoot at the Mini as well. Let's see what we get. 1, 1 and a 2, so all misses. Right, well, we're back in with gear 1, and the tank is moving and it is firing its heavy machine guns at the blue vehicle over here. So let's see, 6 is 2 hits. It is doing speed 4, so it needs to dodge 2 of those with 2 6s, and it's dodged 1, 6, but another loss on its hull points. And this one is staying in gear 1, but he's just doing a hairpin to get him out of the situation he's in. He'll be speeding up when the gears move back down to 1 again. So the Mini is trying something a bit crazy. He's wanting to slide and spin, so he's facing that way at least. This is the only thing he can do. Anything else, he's just going to end in a collision. So he may as well at least try to do this. So he looks a bit crazy, but he's going to roll his dice. He takes a hazard token straight away. So he's actually up on 6, so he's needing a slide and a shift or 2. So he's got 2 spins and a shift. So let's see what happens. He's going to keep that spin and roll another one. It's another spin. So he takes 2 hazards for that, because the 2 spins give him a hazard. He will then smash into the barrier. He can reduce his hazards anyway by 1. So he does a head-on collision. So that's his 4 hits, 4 dice, 4, 5, 6s. He's obviously going to try to evade. So 4, 5, 6s on the hits. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 hits on him. He gets to evade once with his 4 gears and doesn't evade a single one. He takes 4 hits and that actually wipes him out as well. So he goes directly forward, a medium. Ends up there. Let's see if he flips. 4 or above. Yes, he's flipped, so he's upside down, another burning wreck. So now we've got our open top car. He's going to try to do a turn. This is a hazardous turn in his gear 4, so he's going to take a hazard token for that. So to try to stop himself from wiping out, he is going to do a roll. So he's got 2 shifts and a spin. So he can get rid of that spin with that shift and then reduce one of the hazards, divide down to 5 with the other shift. So at least he's made it. And then we have our truck, who is going to attempt the same thing. So he's in gear 4 as well. He's just going to take the hit of the hazard. So he's got round to there now. Is he actually in range of that? He is. So he's going to fire 2d6 at the tank. 4 and a 3, so that's 1 hit. Tank is doing gear 3, so it takes 1 hit. Then for gear 2, the blue car has come around here, the blue pickup, and then the tank has basically done a gentle turn as well, and he's firing his machine guns at the open top car here. So that's a 6, a 4, that was a 6, it was cocked, 6, a 4 and a 5. So that's 4 hits in total. He's doing gear 4, so he needs 6s. And he hasn't saved a single one, so that's 4 hits on the open top. That probably would have wiped out the other vehicle. Yeah, no, it would just wiped it out. And then our open top is going to try to do a turn here, so that's going to be an automatic hazard. So he will wipe out, but he's going to roll his 3 dice to see if he can get out of it. So we've got 3 shifts, perfect, exactly what he needed. So he reduces 3 hazards and gets around there, but he can't fire, so that ends gear 2. So on to gear 3. Right, well, we've got our tank. He's got into a position where he's able to fire at the blue pickup. So let's see what he does. 1 hit. The blue pickup is in gear 4. And he's evaded none of them. The blue pickup has zoomed forward and is now firing at the tank with his 2d6. A 5 and a 2. This is gear 3, by the way. No, sorry, yes, this is gear 3. So he's hit him with 1 dice. He returns, he tries to dodge, he's doing 3 speed, so he's dodged 1, so no hits. And then we have, in this gear, he is doing a veer, so he's going to take a hazard for that, and he's quite happy with that. He's got 4 hazards at the moment, I don't want to roll any dice for him. And then in gear 4, the only ones that are moving are these 2 here, so these are just now making a run for the home straight. So it's right back to gear 1. So gear 1, the tank gets to move first, and he's basically come around this corner and he's now machine gunning into the back of the open top car. Ooh, that's 5 hits. So he's on gear 4, so he's rolling four dice. 6s, remember, so taken 2 off, but it's taken 3 more hits on top of what he had. So he's 3 more hits and he's destroyed. The fella at the back, all he's done is basically done a gentle turn just to get up to gear 2, so at least he can move in the next phase. And then in the end of gear 1, we had these 2 vehicles move forward basically in a straight line. It's allowed them, because they did a medium, they were allowed to bring down their hazards, so they both did. And then we move on to the next gear, which is their turn. So in gear 2, the blue car passes the finishing line and finishes the race and wins it for Team 2. And there we have it. That's how the race looks at the end. So we've got the fella here with the prisoner. He was still stuck trying to get out of his issues earlier. We've got a burning truck here. The burning vehicle here. We've got the tank coming up behind in last position, and the burning mini on the edge of the court as well. But then we've also got the 2 from Team 2 powering through that end there. So they win the race quite happily. Well, that is Gaslands. Pretty simple game. As I said, I did make quite a few mistakes. I always get confused with the collisions because they're not particularly well written, but they were cleared up on the forum. But I can never remember how they work. It's just about how many hazards you take and things. So I do apologise if I've made mistakes in this game. What I do suggest is you basically buy the game and try it out yourself. It's a good laugh. You can just get a load of Hot Wheels cars. You get them like in pound shops and things, you know, next to nothing really for a startup for a brand new game. Well worth trying out. Good laugh. Beer and pretzels game, very simple and good fun. If you've enjoyed watching this, please do check out other videos on my channel. There's plenty more out there. If you haven't already, please do subscribe. It's very much appreciated, and just keep watching out for more videos. I'll probably do some more Gaslands stuff in the future. So thanks again for watching.